Chosen one, you did not find this message by chance. The very air that brought it to you was moved by divine design. This word has been sent to locate you, the one who walks unseen, carrying authority that the world does not yet recognize. Heaven has marked you for this exact moment in time. Every delay, every silence, every hidden season was a setup from the throne. What you are about to hear is not another motivational message. It is a prophetic transmission from the government of heaven itself. The Lord has been watching the movements of nations, the rise and fall of leaders, the shaking of systems that thought they were eternal. Yet, above all that noise, He has chosen you to remain still, a stabilizing force under divine command. You have not been forgotten. You have been preserved. This moment is your divine summons, your awakening into the invisible dimension of governance where God's true power operates without permission or applause. The Spirit of God declares, the enemy may shake institutions, but he cannot reorder what was built by divine hands. The visible realms tremble, but the unseen foundation remains firm. This is the mystery of God's government. It does not begin in parliaments or palaces. It begins in hidden hearts, anchored in eternal decrees. Chosen one, you are part of that invisible architecture. You were sent not to fight for control, but to carry order into chaos. The world thinks it rules through visibility, but heaven governs through alignment. While systems decay in public view, God is constructing a network of rulers who walk unseen, reformers who legislate in prayer, decree in silence, and shift nations through obedience. This word comes to unveil that structure to you. Stay until the end, because what will be revealed is the map of your hidden authority, the blueprint of how heaven intends to govern through you. If your spirit recognizes this call, act now. Type in the comments the prophetic phrase, "I stand unseen." This is not just a comment, it is a declaration of alignment. When you declare it, heaven records your agreement. This moment marks your public yes to a private covenant. As you do this, like this video and subscribe, not as routine, but as a prophetic act of agreement with the government of God. Every click is a symbol of your response to the summons of heaven. You are entering a higher dimension of authority where your silence becomes a weapon and your presence a decree. Stay with me. What you are about to receive will redefine your understanding of power, visibility, and divine order. Now, listen carefully, because this revelation will show you how the invisible governs the visible and how you have been chosen to stand in that secret council. Before we go deeper, hear this with understanding. Divine governance also includes divine provision. To rule under God's command, you must master both spiritual wisdom and practical abundance. That is why we have prepared the Manual of God's Chosen Warrior, a step-by-step guide to prosperity. It's a 10-step guide to help you rise in kingdom order, to think, act, and lead as one called to reign. You'll find the link in the description and in the first pinned comment. You can explore it later, or click now if you're ready to step into divine leadership. Chosen one, the systems of this world are shaking because they have been built on human wisdom, not divine foundation. Governments debate, economies collapse, and leaders rise and fall. Yet above all that, there exists an invisible order holding creation together. That order is God's government, and it operates through those who understand their calling to rule in silence. You are part of that network. The world may not know your name, but heaven does. While the visible authorities exhaust themselves trying to control chaos, You have been anointed to command peace from the unseen dimension. This is why your presence has always carried weight in rooms where no one noticed your influence, because heaven recognizes what earth has not yet discerned. There is a hidden structure beneath every earthly empire, and it is the unseen authority of God's chosen. These are men and women who do not need position to move power, who govern through discernment, not manipulation. They legislate through prayer, decree through alignment, and their words travel faster than any law ever written by man. Chosen one, your authority was never meant to be announced. It was meant to be felt. The reason the enemy has fought your peace, your focus, and your confidence is because he knows that once you understand your invisible influence, he loses control of visible systems. You were designed to govern realities others cannot see, to redirect the current of events without the applause of crowds. Every great ruler of heaven began in silence. Moses was hidden in the desert before confronting Pharaoh. David was anointed in secret before he ruled Israel. Even Christ himself lived 30 years in obscurity before 3 years that shook eternity. The pattern has not changed. God hides his instruments until the noise of the world is loud enough to need them. That hiddenness is not punishment. It is divine strategy. You have been asking why you are unseen, why doors seem closed, why your name is not yet known. The Spirit says, because you are not called to enter through doors built by men. You are the door through which heaven will enter the earth. The political systems of this world are fragile because they are rooted in performance, not in purpose. What the visible calls order is often disguised chaos. What heaven calls order is alignment with truth. The enemy uses instability as theater to make nations believe that power belongs to those who shout the loudest. But in the Spirit, true government is quiet, steady, invisible. It flows through those who have surrendered ambition and chosen obedience. Chosen one, while others compete for attention, you have been trained for influence. Your silence is not weakness. It is spiritual discipline, and soon it will speak louder than the noise of entire institutions. The enemy's strategy has always been distraction. He knows he cannot stop divine order, so he fills the atmosphere with noise. Endless news cycles, manufactured conflicts, false revolutions, all designed to pull your focus away from the throne. But hear this clearly. God is not reacting to the chaos. He is orchestrating purpose behind it. You are not called to respond to every crisis. You are called to discern what is eternal and to move when heaven moves. The invisible government does not chase visibility. It redirects reality. That is why the chosen remain calm when the world panics. They know that storms are the camouflage of divine realignment. Chosen one, understand this mystery. Your invisibility is your armor. The same God who hid Joseph in prison before revealing him to Pharaoh is the same who hides you now. Joseph's confinement was not isolation. It was incubation. While others saw a prisoner, heaven saw a ruler in preparation. So too, while the world overlooks you, God is refining your authority in silence. The enemy cannot attack what he cannot locate, and that is why hiddenness is your greatest protection. You are not waiting to be discovered. You are being preserved for a moment when visibility will no longer corrupt your assignment. The unseen dimension is where all lasting authority begins. Before a nation rises, there is a decree in the Spirit. Before a law is written, a word has already been spoken in heaven. The visible world only echoes what the invisible establishes. This is why prayer is not a ritual. It is legislation. Every time you align your spirit with God's will, You participate in the crafting of decrees that shape history. When you intercede, governments shift. When you obey in silence, territories realign. The enemy fears that understanding, because once you grasp it, you no longer live as a spectator of world events. You become one of heaven's architects behind them. Even now, as you listen, heaven is unveiling a pattern long hidden from human eyes. The Spirit is raising a company of unseen rulers, intercessors who carry authority over cities, thinkers who shape policy through divine wisdom, entrepreneurs who manage resources as extensions of God's economy. They do not wear crowns of gold, but of conviction. They do not seek thrones, but transformation. You are part of that remnant. You are one of the few whose silence is weightier than speeches, whose discernment is more powerful than armies. The invisible government is being revealed not by announcement, but by fruit. Do not be discouraged by what looks delayed. Every time you felt overlooked, heaven was establishing roots beneath the surface. Like Daniel in Babylon, you were planted inside the system to influence it from within. The enemy tried to silence you, but silence is your language. The world thought your invisibility meant irrelevance, yet it is your invisibility that makes you effective. Remember, no one sees the foundation of a building, but it holds everything in place. You are that foundation, hidden, steady, essential. Chosen one, hear this clearly. When God hides you, He is positioning you for impact, not obscurity. The waiting season is the womb of authority. You have been asking for a sign that your time is near. This word is that sign. The very shaking you see in governments, economies, and alliances is confirmation that heaven is preparing to reveal those it has trained in silence. You are one of them. The visible is trembling because the invisible is establishing. When God's hidden rulers take their place, no force, not political, not spiritual, not systemic, can stop the decree already in motion. Chosen one, there is an ancient principle at work in this hour. God always hides His strategy inside the humble, the unseen, and the underestimated. You are not invisible because you lack importance. You are invisible because heaven refuses to expose its weapon before the appointed time. When Elijah thought he was alone, the Lord revealed that 7,000 others had not bowed to Baal. These hidden ones were not in palaces or temples, yet they preserved the spiritual integrity of a nation. The same pattern continues now. Heaven has scattered its chosen across governments, markets, and institutions. Silent carriers of divine order positioned in unexpected places. You may not wear a title, but your obedience is holding systems together. Every prayer you've whispered in secret has been stabilizing what others thought was falling apart. In every generation, God plants His authority beneath the surface. While empires compete for visibility, heaven invests in anonymity. The invisible government of the Spirit is never elected, yet it outlasts every regime. Its members are those who hear before others speak, who perceive before others act. You, chosen one, belong to that lineage. Your authority is not measured by followers or influence, but by your ability to discern heaven's pulse and translate it into action. This is why you feel dislocated from worldly systems. You were not born to fit. You were born to align. The Spirit is reminding you. The seat of your government is prayer, and your influence begins where others stop looking. When you feel forgotten, heaven is not ignoring you. It is forming you. You are being refined for precision, not recognition. God hides you so you will not be distracted by premature applause. The invisible realm is your training ground. It is where you learn to hear whispers that shape worlds. The frustration you feel is not failure, but expansion. Every unanswered prayer, every closed door, every silent season has been sharpening your discernment. You are learning to govern not by impulse, but by instruction. When you move under divine direction, you become a force that systems cannot predict nor resist. The enemy fears what he cannot forecast. That is why his first attack is always visibility, exposure before readiness. If he can make you seek validation, he can neutralize your power. But when you embrace hiddenness, you step into the same strategy God used with Moses, Esther, and Daniel. Each of them was concealed until the moment the system collapsed and needed divine order to be restored. You carry that same mantle. Your hiddenness is not exile. It is preservation. You are being protected from the noise that could dilute your clarity. The less they see you, the more heaven refines you. The quieter your season, the stronger your foundation becomes. Look at the present world, chosen one. Nations trembling, institutions failing, leaders uncertain. Yet beneath it all, heaven is not panicking. It is positioning. Every visible collapse is evidence that the invisible decree is taking shape. The shaking is not destruction, it is realignment. The kingdom of God is reorganizing authority, removing false powers, and installing its hidden representatives. You are one of them. The world's confusion is heaven's cover. While the systems shout, God whispers to those who listen. That whisper carries more weight than the loudest declaration of any government. It is the whisper that sustains nations. You have felt the tension, that spiritual unrest that keeps you awake at night, that knowing that something massive is shifting even though you cannot name it. That is the vibration of divine realignment. Your spirit senses what the natural eyes cannot see. Heaven is repositioning its silent rulers. You are being moved into proximity with influence, not for fame, but for function. When the visible governments falter, you will already be standing in place, aligned and prepared. The enemy has tried to confuse your purpose, to convince you that invisibility equals insignificance. But today, that lie breaks. You are not overlooked. You are reserved for revelation. Chosen one, understand this. Divine timing is perfection, disguised as delay. The reason the Lord has not yet revealed you publicly is because He is synchronizing your emergence with prophetic timing. There is an order to manifestation. When God reveals something too early, it becomes distorted. But when He unveils it in fullness, it cannot be shaken. You are entering the appointed hour when the hidden will speak. The moment of unveiling is near, not as a spotlight, but as a shift. You will not need to announce your authority. Circumstances will identify it. What once ignored you will now seek you. Heaven is preparing your revelation through alignment, not ambition. The invisible realm is stirring. Angelic forces are repositioning territories, and you, chosen one, are part of that movement. Heaven is whispering instructions to hearts across nations, connecting reformers who have never met, yet carry the same fire. You may think your prayers are personal, but they are part of a global orchestration. The enemy's attempt to shake nations into disorder is only revealing the unshakable order of heaven. What looks like chaos is actually a countdown. The visible is trembling because the invisible is establishing. This is why your spirit feels alive again. Because the time of hidden government is reaching its fulfillment. You are being awakened for divine deployment. Chosen one, there is a sacred shifting happening across the nations. A prophetic rearrangement that human eyes cannot fully perceive. God is calling his unseen rulers to take their positions, not in visible thrones, but in spiritual alignment. You have felt the trembling beneath the surface, that inner stirring that will not let you rest. It is not anxiety. It is your spirit responding to heaven's command. The world interprets shaking as instability, but heaven interprets it as repositioning. Every storm, every conflict, every apparent collapse is a sign that the visible order is losing its grip and the divine order is being established. You were born for this precise moment, to hold steady when others panic, to discern the realignment when others see only confusion. This restlessness you feel, chosen one, is not a curse. It is the vibration of destiny. When God begins to shift governments, he first disturbs the hearts of his chosen. That divine unrest is not random. It is instruction. It means heaven is mobilizing you for influence in places you never imagined. You are sensing transitions before they manifest. Others may call it intuition. You know it as discernment. That spiritual sensitivity is your evidence that you are part of heaven's governing structure. Do not silence it. Every time you feel that inner pull, God is briefing you for an assignment unseen by men, but critical to his divine agenda. In this era, the qualification for leadership is no longer visibility, but obedience. Heaven is seeking those who can be trusted with silence. The visible world measures power by control. Heaven measures it by submission. To rule invisibly, you must first master surrender. Your strength is not in how loud you can command, but in how precisely you can align. The invisible government requires rulers who can hear whispers louder than the world's noise. Chosen one, this is why your training has been painful. God has stripped you of dependence on applause so that your spirit could recognize his voice without interference. That solitude you resented was your initiation into governance. The enemy's favorite deception is to make the chosen believe their influence is insignificant unless it is seen. But what he fears most are those who no longer need recognition to move power. When you act in obedience without seeking credit, you operate in a dimension he cannot enter. The unseen authority is the highest form of rulership because it governs without opposition. This is the hour when heaven's generals are being repositioned in plain sight, yet hidden in purpose. You may still look ordinary to others, but your decisions now carry legislative weight. The moment you speak under divine instruction, realities will bend to your decree. Chosen one, the enemy has tried to make you question your relevance. He has whispered lies, that your season is over, that you missed your moment, that no one is listening. But those whispers are the sound of desperation from a realm losing control. The Spirit of God says, "You are not behind. You are ahead of time." You sense what others will only understand months or years from now. The shaking around you is proof of the unveiling within you. You are not being left out of what God is doing. You are being woven into the very center of it. The invisible government is expanding, and you are part of its structure. Now the tension rises. Heaven is not only preparing you, it is activating you. You cannot stay passive while nations tremble. The silence that once protected you now becomes the platform from which you will speak. Your words, though few, will carry the weight of eternity. The Spirit of the Lord is commissioning his hidden rulers, and you are one of them. Every hidden season, every tear, every moment of waiting has been converging into this divine hour. The old systems are falling, and heaven is placing its unseen anchors to sustain what will remain. Stay alert, for your assignment will emerge suddenly, as a whisper that feels like a command. Heaven is shifting power. and your silence is about to speak louder than governments. The era of public noise is ending. The age of quiet authority has begun. The Lord is reconfiguring influence, away from platforms and into presence. He is anointing those who have learned to rule through restraint. You are one of them. You have walked through obscurity, not to be forgotten, but to be trusted. The Spirit says, "Now, arise in the unseen. Rule where others cannot reach. Govern through peace when others fight for attention." The enemy cannot comprehend how heaven wins battles without noise, yet this is the strategy that topples his systems. You are heaven's paradox, invisible yet unstoppable. If this message is awakening the leader inside you, listen closely. Just like David was trained to rule while still in the fields, you too are being shaped to lead under divine authority. That's why I created the Manual of God's Chosen Warrior, a 10-step path to establish kingdom prosperity and leadership in your life. The link is in the description and the first pinned comment. Click there and begin your training as one chosen to govern. Chosen one, as heaven's order expands, resistance intensifies. The enemy, sensing his structures collapsing, releases confusion into the systems of men. He stirs unrest in politics, distortion in the media, corruption in economics, and fear among the masses. Yet his true target is not the crowd. It is you, the one who carries divine stability in your spirit. The enemy knows that if he can shake your focus, he can delay divine order. But hear this clearly. He cannot touch what is anchored in the unseen. Every attack you've endured has been designed to test whether you would anchor yourself in visibility or in eternity. Every disappointment was an attempt to pull you out of your position of authority, but you stood even when unseen. You remained faithful when no one affirmed you, and because of that, you now stand as an unshakable pillar in a world of collapsing systems. The invisible realm is where the fiercest confrontations take place. While men argue in courts and governments, spiritual decrees are being contested in the heavens. You have felt this war in your emotions, your thoughts, your relationships, a pressure that has no visible explanation. It is not just personal attack, it is spiritual resistance to your influence. The forces that once ruled territories are threatened by your awakening. They know that if you begin to operate consciously in your divine authority, they will lose their hold. That is why you have felt moments of intense fatigue, sudden fear, or unexplained heaviness. These are not signs of weakness. They are evidence that you are standing where few dare to stand, between heaven's decree and earth's rebellion. Chosen one, understand this mystery. The invisible government of God advances through confrontation, not comfort. Every reformer ordained by heaven had to face the systems that resisted divine order. Daniel faced the empire's decree. Moses faced Pharaoh's pride. Esther faced political genocide. Yet none of them fought with weapons. They governed through obedience. Their secret was not power in the eyes of men, but favor in the courts of heaven. You are being summoned into that same dimension. The warfare you face is not to destroy you. It is to reveal your capacity to rule. Heaven allows resistance to prove dominion. What the enemy means for instability, God uses as the stage for revelation. The enemy fears convergence, the union between spiritual authority and practical influence. He can tolerate prayer without strategy, or leadership without righteousness, but not both together. You are the embodiment of both. You are the one who prays with precision and acts with wisdom. That is what terrifies him. He has no defense against a ruler who moves under revelation and strategy at once. This is why he has tried to scatter your focus. to make you doubt your relevance, to make you feel small in the midst of global noise. But even now, the Spirit of God declares, your authority is multiplying. While others are losing position, you are gaining dimension. You are learning to legislate in the Spirit and execute in the natural. Chosen one, remember Daniel in Babylon. A man exiled, underestimated, and surrounded by hostile laws. Yet through wisdom and divine alignment, he governed empires without sitting on their thrones. That is your pattern. You are not called to escape systems, but to influence them from within. The invisible government of God thrives inside visible institutions, transforming them quietly. This is why God placed you where you are, not to survive, but to steer. The law of divine influence is subtle, but absolute. Whatever the Spirit inhabits, it eventually reforms. The presence you carry is reforming policies, shifting boardrooms, healing atmospheres. You do not need to announce it. It happens through your existence. Every time heaven establishes invisible authority, the visible powers destabilize. You are witnessing that now. The shaking of economies, the exposure of corruption, the breakdown of false peace. But do not be afraid. It is not the end, it is transition. The spiritual infrastructure of nations is being rebuilt. God is dismantling thrones built on deception and raising voices hidden in truth. You, chosen one, are among those voices. You are part of heaven's reconstruction project. The reason systems appear chaotic is because old alignments are collapsing. The unseen hand of God is rewriting the spiritual constitution of nations, and your obedience is part of that pen. The enemy can disturb governments, economies, and cultures, but he cannot touch the decree that defines you. What is written in heaven about your destiny cannot be edited by human hands. Every false accusation, every delay, every closed door has already been accounted for in the script of your ascension. The Lord says, do not fear the shaking. You are the shaking. You are the disruption to darkness, the divine imbalance sent to restore equilibrium. When the enemy thought he could shake the nation into his order, God sent you to anchor it back to divine truth. Your presence is resistance. Your faith is legislation. Your existence is proof that heaven still governs the earth. Chosen one, the decree of heaven is being released over you now. The invisible government of the Spirit is no longer hidden. It is being revealed through your life. This is not a metaphor. It is a mandate. What was forming silently within you is now stepping into expression. God is not calling you to mimic the powers of the world. He is calling you to embody a different kingdom. You will not need permission to act, nor applause to continue. Heaven's authority will flow through your words, your decisions, and your presence. As you walk into rooms, atmospheres will shift without explanation. Systems will bend toward truth without knowing why. This is the nature of invisible government. It operates before the visible can even respond. You are stepping into a dimension where your influence is measured not by reach, but by impact. In the days ahead, you will see evidence that your prayers have become policies, your decrees have become decisions, and your quiet obedience has turned into open doors that no one can close. This is the manifestation of what was hidden. Chosen one, you are not here to fight for control. You are here to establish alignment. The Spirit of God is positioning you in places where your voice will carry divine weight, not because of title, but because of timing. Every hidden season has converged into this hour of release. To govern under the Spirit is to reorder realities. Heaven does not send you into systems to survive them. but to transform them. When you speak under divine unction, unseen chains break, and visible order changes. You may not always witness the immediate result, but the impact is irreversible. This is why the enemy has fought your confidence. He knows that one word spoken under God's breath can undo decades of deception. Chosen one, when you move in alignment, you carry the weight of decrees older than nations themselves. You are no longer reacting to events, you are shaping them. This authority is not earned, it is entrusted. God does not give it to the ambitious, He gives it to the faithful. That is why He hid you. Authority built in silence cannot be shaken by noise. You are emerging from a hidden season with a weight that no platform can grant. Like Jesus, who lived 30 years in obscurity for 3 years of impact, you have been prepared to release more in a short time than others release in a lifetime. This is the paradox of the invisible government. Long preparation, sudden manifestation, eternal effect. The silence you have endured has been your consecration. Every unseen prayer was legislation. Every unnoticed act of obedience was a vote in heaven's court. Every time you chose righteousness over recognition, you were writing laws in the Spirit. Now those laws will begin to manifest. Chosen one, the season of hidden sowing is turning into visible harvest. People will not understand how you suddenly carry such weight, but it is not sudden to heaven. It is the fullness of time. Your influence will now flow naturally because it has been forged supernaturally. God hides His strongest weapons until the battlefield requires them. You are that weapon. The enemy cannot counter a ruler who does not crave recognition. You have been stripped of pride so that power would not corrupt you. This is why you are safe for God to trust. The authority you are stepping into will not look like the crowns of this world. It will look like clarity, stability, and unshakable peace in environments that are collapsing. While others react, you will decree. While others panic, you will legislate. While others grasp, you will govern. This is the manifestation of your calling. You must now see your waiting not as a delay, but as a positioning. Heaven is not late, it is precise. The moment God reveals the invisible through you, no force can undo it. As you walk forward, know this: you are not just part of the invisible government, you are its evidence. Your life proves that God still plants His rulers in silence, trains them in obscurity, and releases them in power. This is your hour of release. Chosen one, there is a divine mystery that few understand. God's most powerful revelations are not shouted from mountains. They are whispered in hidden places. For years, you have walked through corridors of silence, wondering why heaven seemed quiet. Yet that silence was God's classroom. Every moment you spent waiting, every tear you shed unseen, was a seed of authority being planted deep within your spirit. The Father does not entrust dominion to those who crave noise. He entrusts it to those who can hear Him when all other sounds fade. You were never forgotten. You were being forged. And now, the silence that once felt like isolation has become the soil of your influence. The world does not yet know your name, but the spiritual realm recognizes your sound. When God hides a person, it is because He intends to reveal a principle through them. You are the principle of concealed power, the embodiment of divine restraint. Every season you spent unseen was a prophetic rehearsal for this hour. The enemy thought the silence meant defeat, but it was divine gestation. Invisibility has been your sanctuary, your armor, your preparation. You have learned what most never do. That authority is not declared, it is developed. Every hidden act of obedience, every unseen prayer, Every silent surrender has accumulated into a force that the visible world will soon witness. What you carry has been tested in solitude, so that it cannot be corrupted by applause. Chosen one, understand that divine revelation does not always come with visible proof. It begins in the unseen, and only time reveals its fullness. You are now entering the manifestation of promises heaven has been cultivating for years. Do not mistake divine timing for delay. The Lord is not just revealing you to the world, He is revealing the world to you. He is opening your eyes to see how spiritual architecture shapes political structures, how prayer influences power, how integrity can redirect nations. You are being given sight behind the systems, the discernment to see the spiritual mechanics behind earthly movements. That is how rulers of the invisible government operate. They perceive what others ignore and reform what others fear. The season of restraint is ending. The Spirit is now calling forth the voices of those He has refined in silence. It is not a call to popularity, but to purpose. You will speak when instructed, and your words will carry the frequency of divine law. You will no longer ask for validation. You will give definition. Heaven will confirm your words through outcomes that cannot be denied. The same presence that sustained you in hiddenness will empower you in manifestation. Chosen one, when you decree, heaven will echo. When you move, atmospheres will obey. You are not just releasing messages, you are legislating realities. The enemy will not understand how your influence expands without effort. He cannot perceive that favor is not something you chase, it is something that follows obedience. You are entering a realm where visibility will find you because invisibility has already proven you. The world will call it sudden, but heaven calls it scheduled. Your emergence is not a surprise, it is a fulfillment. Everything that once resisted you will now begin to cooperate with your assignment. The systems that once rejected your presence will begin to depend on your wisdom. This is divine reversal, the evidence that God exalts the hidden to confound the visible. Chosen one, the time of revelation has come. Heaven has moved your name from silence to sentence. Every word you speak will now carry authority to establish, correct, and restore. The Lord says, I am not changing who you are. I am changing how the world sees you. You have always been a ruler in the Spirit, but now the visible will align with what heaven already knows. You are not rising to authority. Authority is rising through you. You are the convergence point between what is seen and unseen, and your obedience has triggered heaven's response. You are not waiting for recognition. Recognition is waiting for your command. You are the living decree that heaven governs the earth. Chosen one. Now the revelation becomes personal. Everything you have heard until this moment has been the architecture of heaven. Now it becomes the blueprint for your life. You have not been prepared for applause, but for responsibility. The Spirit of God is saying, you are my instrument of reordering, my vessel of justice, my embodiment of divine government on earth. You are not here to observe change. You are here to initiate it. The same authority that spoke through prophets and kings now rests upon your shoulders. You are a reformer of the invisible kingdom, called to translate the will of heaven into the systems of earth. Do not wait for an invitation. The decree has already been issued. You are authorized. To rule under God's command is not to dominate, but to bring harmony. Leadership begins in the small, quiet places, the moments when you choose integrity over convenience, obedience over opportunity, faith over fear. Every choice becomes a seed of governance. The invisible government does not begin in parliaments. It begins in the secret chambers of a surrendered heart. As you master the discipline of righteousness in your private life, you will be entrusted with authority in public spaces. Divine order flows through consistency. If you can govern yourself, you can govern atmospheres. The Spirit is saying, "You have passed tests others never saw, and now I will trust you with influence they cannot handle." Prosperity, too, is part of this assignment. You were never called to live beneath the weight of scarcity. God equips His rulers with provision because spiritual poverty cannot sustain divine governance. Prosperity under heaven's order is not greed, it is capacity. The Lord desires to establish you in stability so that your influence cannot be manipulated. The invisible government is resourced by divine economy, not human systems. As you align your financial life with divine principles, you will see supernatural order flow into natural abundance. Your resources will become tools of restoration, funding righteousness where corruption once reigned. This is what it means to prosper under divine rule. Your mission now expands beyond personal breakthrough. You are being positioned to restore justice where disorder has reigned. In your workplace, your city, your nation, you are the vessel through which heaven will legislate mercy, wisdom, and truth. Do not underestimate your reach. Every decision you make in alignment with God's will sends ripples through realms unseen, altering the atmosphere of institutions and hearts alike. You are a reformer of realities. Where deceit governs, your presence will introduce truth. Where fear dominates, your words will carry peace. The invisible government expands through faithful individuals who dare to stand in alignment while the world bows to compromise. Chosen one, you are being commissioned not through pressure, but through divine trust. Your authority flows not from dominance, but from divine presence, wisdom, and calm. You've been anointed for stability and discernment, equipped to govern with quiet confidence. Your influence will not come through popularity, but alignment with heaven's will. You are a vessel through which divine order is established, where unseen realms respond to your authorized obedience. As you walk, decree, and build, the invisible world will move in step with your actions. This is not arrogance, it is purpose. Heaven trusts you to manifest its reality here on earth through clarity, consistency, and conviction. You are entering a new era where true influence is not measured by attention, but by atmosphere. The world may not always see your impact, but heaven does. Every quiet prayer, every courageous choice, every faithful act. Through you, systems will realign, environments will shift, and peace will triumph over chaos. Your very presence will carry the vibration of divine government, not because of who you are, but because of what you carry. Heaven's government flows through character, not charisma, through humility, not hype. You are not simply rising, heaven is rising through you. The acceleration you feel is divine timing catching up with divine preparation. Now, what took years will take moments. You are not called to escape disorder, but to govern within it. Heaven has positioned you as a stabilizer amid collapse, a reformer among ruins. The journey of hidden formation was never wasted. It built the integrity needed for visible influence. The Spirit reminds you, influence begins at home, in your thoughts, in your choices, before it becomes public. As global systems shake, your rootedness will become proof of divine legitimacy. Across the earth, others like you are awakening, aligned, humble, and resolute. You are part of a greater architecture of righteousness. The atmosphere responds not to volume, but to virtue. When you walk into chaos, clarity comes. You govern by presence, not pressure. Chosen one, the shaking of this age will intensify, but so will the light within you. God is not removing you from chaos. He is establishing you as order within it. The same power that spoke creation into existence now speaks through you. Your life is a decree, your stability a sermon, your peace a prophecy. Never underestimate what your obedience sustains. The Spirit says, "You are my embassy in the earth." The enemy cannot destroy a nation while the righteous still decree. Stand firm, keep your spirit aligned, and remember, the invisible has more authority than the visible. You are heaven's unseen ambassador, and your presence enforces divine law wherever you are sent. You have reached the summit of revelation. The invisible government is the backbone of the kingdom. It is the foundation beneath every true reform, every spiritual awakening, every act of restoration. You are part of that foundation. Your obedience keeps the structure standing. The enemy has tried to distort your perception, but now you see clearly. The world is not falling apart. It is falling into place. The kingdoms of this world are becoming the kingdom of our God, and you are one of the vessels carrying that transition. You were hidden so that you could now be revealed as evidence that the power of God never lost its voice. The invisible is victorious, and you are its proof. Chosen one, before we close, receive this final invitation of preparation. You cannot step fully into this assignment without being equipped for it. Heaven does not send soldiers to battle without armor, and it does not send rulers into systems without resources. That is why we created the Manual of God's Chosen Warrior, a step-by-step guide to prosperity. It's a 10-step guide to help you rise in kingdom order, to think, act, and lead as one called to reign. You'll find the link in the description and in the first pinned comment. You can explore it later, or click now if you're ready to step into divine leadership. Now, receive this closing decree. Every force that tried to shake you out of alignment is losing its grip. Every system that resisted your presence will soon depend on your wisdom. Every delay that frustrated you is about to be revealed as divine timing. The Lord says, "I have set you as an anchor in the midst of storms. I have hidden you so that now I can reveal you." The power rising within you cannot be stopped because it is not yours. It is mine. You are stepping into the season where your influence will outlast your visibility. You will legislate through words, govern through presence, and establish order through peace. You are not simply surviving history, you are shaping it. The invisible government of heaven is manifesting through you, and no force on earth or in hell can stop it. Chosen one, as this word closes, seal your agreement with action. Type again in the comments, "I stand unseen," as a sign of covenant with heaven's government. Like this video and subscribe not as routine, but as a prophetic gesture of alignment. And if you feel led, support this channel on Buy Me a Coffee. Many have already sown into this mission, and we are deeply grateful. Your support helps this prophetic voice reach others who need it. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. Receive now this blessing. May your hidden authority become unshakable influence. May every system you touch bend toward righteousness. May your silence speak louder than governments. No force can stop you, because heaven governs through you.